From Sui Young, who says, after missing out on Werner to Chelsea, Timo Werner obviously, do you think Liverpool need to buy someone else to bolster their attacking options, considering Lallana and Shaqiri are likely to leave after this season? And just today, although there are always reports coming out about Salah or Firmino, now it's Mane linked to PSG and Real Madrid. This team is going to win the Premier League. I don't think there's any doubting that. How do you make it stronger, Paul?
Listen, I think you're right in what you say, Adam. I think when you kind of go back to, Suarez, he soon left, Coutinho, he left, and when you're a successful team like Liverpool have been in England and in Europe, the Firminos, the Manes, the Salahs, the Van Dijks, eventually people are going to come calling for them. So it's kind of preparing early doors. I mean, they brought in Minamino. I think it's still... the jury's still out on him. I don't think today he played in his right position. We can see that by the way he kept drifting into that, number 10 position. I don't think Origi's the answer. I think he's a bit like a super sub, as he's proven in the last 2 years. Alana's had a few injuries, and obviously I think Shaqiri was never the answer. So the problem you get, if you're trying to buy players at the ilk and at the standard of the front three, or any player at Liverpool, they've got to be good enough to come in and replace them, like we've seen with Fabinho. If he gets injured and Keita can come in, or Henderson, or there's enough midfield players in there who can do a job. But I think you always know that for someone like Liverpool, you always got to try and bring players in where you're under pressure. The players that you bring in have to put the players who are starting week in under pressure. And I think that's when, even when I was at Liverpool, I was 30 years of age, and all of a sudden Steven Gerrard's like, I'm thinking, wow, this kid's a player, and they kind of put you under pressure. You have to. That's why I go back to training well, because you always got to be training well because players come in. And I think Liverpool need that. They need that kind of, who are we going to buy in the summer? Who's going to think, well, I'm not guaranteed a place next season because we just spent £50 million on him or £40 million on him. And that's how you build a strong team. So, as Gary said, they're not far away. The balance is fantastic. And it's took Klopp 4 years to get the balance to where he is. But you've got to keep improving as a manager and as a team. You can't keep standing still because the expectations are going to be harder and higher next year.
Yeah, and what I'd also say is that at this moment in time, it would appear at Liverpool Football Club that they have the bulk of their star players, their best players, their highly regarded players tied up on reasonably lengthy contracts. So there's no panic on that one. I also think that there is a real desire at Liverpool Football Club to bring players through from the academy structure, and we've seen some youngsters on the fringes of it. Look, when Liverpool weren't able to fulfil a fixture in the cup competition earlier, the domestic cup competition earlier this season, because the first team were playing in the World Club Championship. And the kids did great. And I think Jurgen Klopp also has that as a target to edge young players in and through. And I think they've got some diamonds within the academy there.
Did you see...
Gary, what I'll just say on that, Gary, just going back to, when you talk about the top players on contracts, I get that. I kind of feel, looking at it now, is that you look at a Salah, you look at a Mane, even a Firmino, they've won the league, which have not won for 30 years. They've won the Champions League. Are we going to get a situation where, what more can I do next season? If Barca come knocking, Real Madrid come knocking, if PSG come knocking, what more can they do for Liverpool next season?
Well, the truth is, win another title, win another Champions League, and I think they're a club that is very well positioned to do exactly that. If I was a Liverpool player at the moment, would I be looking at going to, as you say, a Barca, a Real Madrid, or a PSG? Well, maybe. But if I want to win trophies, I actually think I'm a fantastic club to do just that.
Isn't it a question of looking back at your career, though? I mean, no matter what happens, Paul, for example, can look back and say he's played for one of Italy's most famous clubs, one of the best-known clubs in the entire world, which is Inter Milan. He's played for Manchester United and Liverpool, arguably the two biggest clubs in England. That's a fantastic CV.
So let me ask, Paul, where did you have your most success, Paul?
Manchester United. Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying, when I was at Manchester United, I'd kind of won everything I wanted to win. We couldn't win the Champions League because we had that kind of foreign rule where people like Mark Hughes and Ryan Giggs were classed as foreigners, so we didn't have that greatest team. But I wanted to go somewhere else and win something else. There wasn't much more I could do at Manchester United. And I think it's more so, if you were talking to me about a Jordan Henderson or David Robertson, you know, the English, British players, then yeah. But I kind of feel that the foreign players, when these big clubs come calling, and don't get me wrong, you know, Liverpool's a massive, massive club historically. But when Barca, Real Madrid, those big clubs come calling, it's so hard to say no. And it's probably even harder to say no when you've already won the league with Liverpool or at the Champions League. Are Liverpool going to win the league next year? I think it's going to be very, very tough. I think City will be a better team next year. The Port's been out all season. They're going to bring some players in. So if I'm a player at Liverpool, I'll be thinking, right, I can't do no more here. Let me go and try something else. And foreign players tend to do that.
Well, I guess you can never really predict the future. Beckham moved to Real Madrid, didn't have an incredible trophy haul when he was there, but you look at Gareth Bale, and obviously multiple Champions League titles are now hanging on his mantelpiece. But did you see Wayne Rooney's comments about Jurgen Klopp, that if he stays for the next 10 years, Liverpool will probably win 5 more titles? Are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, I saw that. I read the article, and to be honest with you, since Wayne Rooney's been writing in the Times newspaper in England this season, I've really enjoyed all of his comments and his columns and what he's had to say on a whole raft of subjects. But yeah, you're right. You know, he said that, in his opinion, the most important person at Liverpool Football Club has been and will be, and this is why they need to keep him there and do their best to sign him up on a longer contract, and that's Jurgen Klopp. And who would argue with that point at this precise moment in time?
I mean, I would, because I can't say it. Because as much as you talk about Jurgen Klopp, I think it's as much as important to have Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. I believe that, you know, the way they play football is out of this world, Gary. I've never seen anything like it. And I think Pep's got a point to prove. You know, they've talked about him leaving, but he's got a point to prove. He's got to come back next year and win this title. I just feel with Liverpool, if they lose one of their star players, like a Salah, we saw today, if Salah doesn't play or that front three don't play, you know, there's no combination. They don't bring in the fullbacks. They don't look as good a team in Liverpool as without those 3 playing. So, you know, if someone asks me next year would I back to win the title, I'd say Manchester City, because I think they're far superior. If Klopp goes and Pep goes, then it could be anything in the top 6. But you're right, Gary, in the fact that those 2 managers had to stay at those 2 clubs, and it's that battle again for next season.
So you're putting City ahead of Liverpool for next season. Is that solely because of the squad depth, or because you have a slight preference to the managers?
No, I think they're different in different ways. I think Klopp's probably, the way he acts on the touchline is very more passionate. You can see that the players love him. You can see that the players idolise him. I think Pep's more articulate in what he does. But if I kind of look at defensively, I think Manchester City have fallen this season because they've lost Laporte. They didn't replace Company when he left. And it's been they've had no Sane, you know. So I just kind of when I look at Manchester City as world-class players, I think they've got more than what Liverpool have. And I'm not counting out Manchester United this, by the way, because I think they're going to improve next season. I think every team's going to improve. Frank Lampard's going to want to spend money. Just bought in Werner from Leipzig. You know, he wants to get better. You know, so does Skarsgård, Mourinho, how much money we have to spend. So I don't think it's going to be, you know, as easy cut next year. So to say they win 5 in the next 10 years, I think it's a big ask, because you're talking about depth for squad. You're talking about a very lot of luck. FA Cup, League Cup, Champions League, Premier League. It's a lot to, you know, to keep winning year in, year out. But I love Klopp. I think he's a great manager. They're different to Pep, but I think next season could be those 2 teams again.